never thought that I will actually read one of the ex-post of Rutendo Matinyare, making sense for the very first time. Rutendo Matinyare as Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa. The truth, it makes sense, even though it does not make whole sense, but it does make sense. He has been saying a lot of things these days that makes really sense. But well, does the Mnangagwa regime care to listen when he faces consequences? He have actually said the beating of Professor Lovemore Madhuku is pointless self-sabotage for well-performing government. Well, we don't agree with him that Mnangagwa government is a well-performing, but he's saying this is self-sabotage. I'll be reading decided to write. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hloniphani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. So this is what Rutendo Matinyare wrote. He says, pointless self-sabotage. He puts also the picture of Professor Lovemore Madhuku for well-performing government. He goes on to say, sometime last year, I wrote my first article warning that the constitutional amendment to change the election cycle was a risk to the Second Republic because, one, it will reignite division and polarization in a nation that's slowly uniting around economic development and growth. Two, it will resurrect the opposition that was dead, and it is indeed doing so. Three, it would push the opposition to undertake civil action, protest, demos, and legal action. Four, government would likely retaliate with suppression, arbitrary arrest, and force. I never thought that this would come, in fact, from from this guy, Rutendo Matinyare. He goes on to say, and once violence and arrest are used by government, then ZANU PF becomes susceptible to regional and international isolation, bad publicity, sanctions, and in a worst case scenario, attack for regime change. He goes on to say, all of which is unnecessary for a Mnangagwa government that's been turning around the economy and beginning to earn respect at home and international. I wonder about that respect. Now, whether Madhuku's claims are true or fake, after the SEP's office burning, it's now making ZANU PF look like it's forcing the constitutional amendment without referendum because it can't persuade people to accept it. This is self-sabotage, ZANU PF. Why? This is what Rutendo is saying. And he had to go and actually pick up the statement where he says ZANU PF would resuscitate, this. And then there's something also that he wrote. I want to read quite a number of things that he wrote, which makes sense. He goes on to say, if key stakeholders mean only ZANU PF members, if stakeholders mean only members of ZANU PF, while leaving those who oppose and who will make noise and invite foreign attention, then there is no buy-in, and the unity Ziyambi is purportedly seeking through this amendment will be fleeting. All those who are advising ZANU PF to ignore or persecute those who disagree with them on this amendment in this age of Trump regime change are digging a hole for the party. They are digging a hole for the party. I think he continues to say a lot of things. He says, would like to agree with you that the Harare government does not face an existential threat right now because there is no organized opposition. But I think over the past few years, after successfully getting the gaze of the West away from it, Harare is becoming reckless and slowly sowing seeds of its own destruction. This it has done by destroying the opposition, aligning aggressively with China, being seen as anti-US by continuing to drag the US for having sanctions on Zimbabwe without acknowledging the removal of the bulk of sanctions, and now trying to amend the constitution without referendum. Although the West seemed willing to overlook this as long as they could re-engage for minerals, the moment Harare chose to spend the US medical deal and then leaked its rejection to make themselves look like a slave who is challenging the master. And soon after, they blocked the exportation of minerals. And this was followed by Zambia rejecting its own health deal, and Ramaphosa saying the next day in parliament that Africa needs to process its own resources and not export rocks. This is definitely going to get the hawkish Trump and Vance to start paying attention to this rising perceived recalcitrance by the African country that inspired South Africa to take white land and is now pushing for resource sovereignty. And as you said, Harare is giving the West endless entry points to exploit, from the non-compensation of white farmers to the constitutional amendment that has resuscitated the opposition, resurrected the opposition, which in turn has seen an escalation in claims of violence, abductions, and attack against those who oppose the amendment by the state. More concerning is that they see Harare positioning itself once again as a counter hegemony that is pushing African irredentism. So I believe that the administration is slowly putting itself back into the gaze of West. Now, many might say, might not understand what I am saying here. So let me explain. For the West to transform its economies into a new paradigm of data centers, AI, and the green economy, while building the military industry over the next 20 years, they are going to need to acquire the same amount of mineral resources: copper, gold, lithium, iron, chrome, nickel, tungsten, and other new rare earths, as the world has consumed in the last 10,000 years. They are going to need the amount of resources in the next 20 years, and the demand will only grow exponentially into the future. It's a lot that Rutendo is writing. He was responding to actually Hopewell Chinono. I wish I could read all of this anyway. Thank you very much. But he's saying something sensible for the very first time. I've never thought that I would read something coming from Rutendo Matinyare. That makes sense, but it is. Things can change. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. Okancubu Mhlabane is signing out. Let me love and leave you. Let's meet on the other side of the live broadcast.